Play stronger, not faster. Resign like a grandmaster. Hello everyone, I'm Fabian, and this is the fourth episode of my series Resign like a grandmaster. Resign like a grandmaster is a series about atomic chess, which is a chess variant. If you have never heard of it, you can watch my first videos, or you can search TIPAU either on Lichess or on YouTube. You can find his channel, and his channel is much better than my channel because I'm bad at English and I'm not good at atomic chess, and I'm just doing it for some special reasons. So don't care about that. You can click the links and find his YouTube channel, and there are many videos which are good for beginners. There are end games like a king and queen versus king, and king and two queens versus king, and some openings about knight to h3 openings. Okay, so I actually recorded this Elite Atomic Swiss, which just ended, but the record is not good, and I didn't record the game window, so I have to do it again. As you can see, in this video, we are going to talk about some elite level atomic chess games. And just give some brief introduction to some good atomic players. This Swiss is, well, I think it's weekly and is created in this team called Elite Atomic. I just joined this team, I think. Yeah, I just joined it. And I can't join this tournament because it requires higher than 2000 rating, and I'm not that good, so I can't join. Okay, that's fair. You can see this tournament was won by Wolfram, and second place is the Hero of Ages, and third place is Historics, fourth place is Opabinia. Historics won on tiebreakers. So we can watch some typical games which are good for beginners. I think I commented on this game, and it's very interesting because maybe you are going to face some of the trick openings, and you have to know how to counterattack and how to defend against those trick ideas, because tricks are for kids. Okay, here I think the record is doing fine. Oh no, it's not doing fine, so I'll just go here, and yeah, now it's fine. So the game goes knight to f3, d6 exclaim. d6 is not a good move, as I just said. f6 is the best move, and I recommended it. So if you still remember, anything other than f6, e5, or d6 loses, and f6 is the best move. Why is d6 bad? You can see in this game, d6 is bad because now white threatens the black pawn and the black king. If you move your king, of course that's bad, because why? Because you moved your king, and I think mate is soon to follow, because yeah, your queen is threatened and that is threatened, so your pieces are forked, and if you move your king, you still get mated, so you can't do that. Okay, so you have to play f6. So never play f6, and then you get knight to f7, the knight invasion threatening the queen, so black has to move the queen, because otherwise your king gets exploded, and then knight takes pawn. Knight takes pawn, explodes the queen. Quick review, pawns don't get exploded, but pieces get exploded when explosion happens on near squares. Okay, so now, what's the idea? Black just lost a queen and a pawn for a knight, which is of course bad. So the computer gives something like +5, and black is probably losing. And of course, this is not a good opening, but even in the elite level, you can still get mated in this opening. So you have to know the tricks. What are the tricks? Well, black just develops. In atomic chess, you should develop your pieces once the threats are gone. You are into a middle game. Now it's a middle game, so white's pieces are not developed yet. So black has a bit of some kind of compensation, but that's pretty suspicious compensation. So c3, e5. e5 is actually a good move because it opens up the bishop and creating many threats. So white has to be careful. So g4, defending against that threat. Is that really a threat? I think maybe develop. Is that good? I think that must be good. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Black has nothing, so it's okay. But still, you still need to be careful about something like that. I think what is series? I don't even know what is series, because that is obviously, is that bad? I think that must be bad because you get that and castles. This is actually an interesting idea in this opening because this pawn is not overworked. Why? Because if you take it, I think the move is just that, and you that is that forced? That is not forced. You can just yeah, that's not good. So that first, threatening that, and you do that, and that. Is that even a threat? It's not a threat. So that no threats. That's a fake threat. So yeah, that's a fake threat. So, but the similar threat happened in the real game, and that is not an option because white played incorrectly. So now, so e3 is the correct move. So my instincts is pretty good. g4 is not that good because it weakens the king side, so don't play g4. Now bishop e6, which is a good move and threatening that. But white is up so much material, so you don't actually need to defend against that. Just develop. I think even now that is good. So just don't take it. Just don't take it. Just defend, and you have nothing. So if you take, let's count material. White is still up a queen, and the queen is for a rook and a pawn, so that's still winning. So not sure about that. Okay. Now after the b3 question mark, it is a natural move because it defends against that threat, but this pawn is overworked. It's defending against that and that. That's threatening that and that. That is more important. Yeah, that is more important because that force is mate. So you have to defend against that and allow some nasty discoveries, and you have to take it. Otherwise, you just get forked and mated. Yeah. So black will get back some material, and now black is winning because black is now up a material. You just count. It's up a knight and a bishop for just 1 pawn. Yeah. So black is winning. So don't do that. So that move is not good. b3 is not good, but many people do that. So that's how tricks work. The natural move loses, so don't do that. Actually, this is actually some psychological effect because that's just some normal moves, just some normal developing moves. So I can just play b3 and hopefully I can defend, but that's not true because white pieces are aligned here. So that can't be good. In atomic chess, in the middle game phase, as long as you are not getting mated, you should develop pieces. Otherwise, you might lose. So knight to d4 and c takes d4, which is of course a bad move, and just castles is also okay. You just play that is also okay because let's just change the move order. The threat is of course this pawn and this weak pawn, and you can only block that by that, and you by castling the rook is on that file, and you have to play d3 or d4, and then you can just check and take, because if you play that, it's also the same thing as rook takes. After rook takes, notice that the white king is smothered. If that's standard chess, it's not smothered mate because you can block. But in this case, blocked and then checkmate because you can't block. You can't block the check with a piece that near to your king, so then you get mated. So you can't block this check and you lose. This is some opening tricks, and I noticed that in this tournament there are many games that started with I don't know how to call that opening. I think it's called something like let me quick check. Knight f3 and knight d4. I think that's called king knight kamikaze attack. Terrible name, just normal. So I just want to call it knight f3 knight d4. So that is actually how to. I think I watched this game and yeah, this is a game. I comment. Okay, so knight f3, f6, knight to d4. How to play? The engine already give the answer away. So the correct move is knight to h6. You might get mated, but if white plays something like e3, e4, d3, d4, or c4, I think I mentioned that in the last video, you don't want to play knight to h6. But if white moves the knight, whichever knight you move, like knight a3, knight c3, knight h4, knight at everywhere, unless you go for that. Knight h6, just some random knight moves. Knight h6 is always the correct answer. Just like Olivia once said, if you move in knight f3, f6 openings, if you move a pawn, then that is bad. If you move a knight, then that is good. So okay, why? Because knight d4 actually is a fork. It forks these two squares. And if a knight is there or is there, then the black king is dangerous, or if a knight is there, you might lose some material. So that's a big threat. So you have to. This is a bigger threat because that and that is threatened. So you have to defend against that by playing actively. If you only defend one of them, like b6, then black can still play on, but that's not good for black. If you go for something like that, then it's worse. So that, and you just lose. You can't do anything. You just lose. So you maybe see this opening once in a while, but that's of course a fork. And you might see, oh, black can win back some material by playing queen to a5, and white has to defend against the threat because the pawn is threatened, so white has to play c3. I think b4 might be bad, so you have to. And then black will go queen to f5 because otherwise black loses, and this pawn is threatened, so white has to play f3 or f4. I think f4 is bad because of that. f4 must be bad because of that. So now the white queen can go to black queen can go to c2. Now this is threatened, and black king, the white king has to move, or does he? or I might mess up something and you might be confused. So if white king moves, then white might be in trouble. I think is white in trouble though. King f2. I don't think anyone playing that. It must be in trouble. So that might be something bad. So move repetition. Yeah, move repetition at least. So I don't think that's good. So yeah, that's still okay for white. So not sure about that. So but the most clear way to win is just take the queen. You might think, oh, you lose a bishop and a knight by taking the queen. Of course, you lose. But now, as you can see, black has no development. White also has no development, so it's the same. So it's a boring position. It's very boring, and nothing is happening. And black has a move, but black can do anything. Black can develop pieces. But now, what's the material count? White has a rook for a knight and a pawn. Yeah, no, a rook and a pawn for a knight. That's a rook and a pawn for a knight. It must be winning in a boring position because black has no counterplay. Because rooks are strong in atomic. If you trade off all the things and you have a rook and a pawn, you must win. So just trade off all the pieces. Just trade off. Just because knights are probably useless in the end games. In middle games or openings, knight might be worth 2 points. In atomic chess, knight is never worth 3 points. So in openings, knight might be worth 2 points, bishop might be worth 2 points or 1.5 points. In endgames, they just basically worth 1.2 points or even just a point. So they're just not so good. Because in atomic chess, the pieces, if a piece take a pawn, the piece itself explodes. So not sure about that. The pawns just move and moves. So your pieces can't stop them because if you take them, your piece also get exploded. So pawns are pretty strong, and you can't even for example take this pawn and those pawns don't explode. So you can't do anything. So this is winning for white, and black after some random move, you just play random moves, and I think I already blundered. That's still okay maybe, but that's not good for. I think white is still fine. So this is covered, and black has nothing. Okay. That's a very long analysis of C6 because I've played C6 myself for a long time, so I'm sure many beginners play that. So don't play that. So play knight to h6. Although that might maybe loses sometimes, but black has more counterplay. So e3, which is theoretical line I might know, and knight to g4, threatening that. You might say, oh, why doesn't he go for that? Now notice the black knights go here and threatening that, and the point is knight to b5 actually is not a forced. It's not for doesn't force black to react because that just wins material and that's it. That wins material and so what? But that threatens mate, so you have to go for that, and you go knight to f2, and then you lose because the queen is trapped and you get mated. So that's not good. White can play that, and now if you play something like that, I play something like that. F4, so that's defended. So now quick quiz. Should black go for this move? 3, 2, 1. Black shouldn't go for this move. Why? It threatens. It's a fork. It threatens mate, but white goes check and you resign. Why do you resign? Because This is a common theme. Do you remember? It forks here and here, and black can't defend, so that's not good. So black has to defend against that. So firstly, black defends against that threat because that's a real threat. So now the white queen still blocked, so that's not that's not good. So white tries to kick away the black knight, and now black plays e5. I think it's a theoretical line, and takes h5. It's a common theme because it defends against the queen and the rook. So a4, I think that's still theory, but now up to here, I don't know theory. I don't know this opening anymore, so I'm probably just till here. I think I might play here, and that's okay. So I think that's okay because that's not okay actually. That's not good. That's terrible. That's okay. Not that terrible. Okay, so still a4. Even in that line, a4 is a recommended move. And here actually I recommend e4. So not sure about that. Okay, a4. What does a4 do? Of course, threaten this pawn, and the bishop is great, and the knight is great, and so forth. So f5, d5, just push pawns. In atomic chess, after in the middle game, this is a quite messy middle game, and just develop and do something interesting. And I think this is pretty straightforward. And in these positions, now a takes b. This is a real threat because that. So that. So you have to take the knight. And now what's the problem? No problem. So black is fine here. C6 is actually not a good move, but I don't think human will see why. Why is just maybe you get something like I don't know. So it's bad. It's probably bad. So knight to a3, threatening some nasty moves like sacrifice a knight and the bishop goes there. So black plays knight to d7, developing the knight to c4 as a plan. So knight to b6, because taking it is risky. Why is it risky? Because of that, I think. I think it's that. So yeah, and black has no defense against mate, so you can't do that. You can't take it. So knight to a5, threatening takes and winning material. Bishop a3, double question mark. That's but black is in time trouble. This is actually a hard move to make, because that's and what do you play? I might even that exclaim. That's not how to express my this actually, although the computer thinks black is fine, but the queen in the endgame, this is close to an endgame. The queen for several pieces, that's not good. The queen can get, especially when you are in time trouble, the queen can threaten mate everywhere, and your pieces have to defend perfectly against the queen, so don't do that. But theoretically, this is winning for black, obviously, for obvious reasons, because this pawn is strong, and black can somehow defend against the queen attack because you can defend against this attacks. So maybe you have to sacrifice the queen for some reason. And black is winning, but it's not sure about that. So bishop a3, double question mark, because it's somehow threatening that, but just take it. I don't understand that move. How does that help? So queen to e7, threatening some counterplay, but this is covered. This is covered. I don't know what counterplay is threatening, so not sure. Maybe this. So yeah, this. This is threatened now, but that's nothing because this is covered. This is covered. I'm not sure about that. Knight to b7, and this is threat, so you have to do something about that. The computer recommends that and takes, or just that, so it's also okay. This is actually not good because you get mated maybe. Knight to b2 is not a good move because this is actually pretty half chance. You because this and this are both obvious moves, and this fails to that, and you check takes not good, and maybe don't know. So yeah, and queen to a4, double question mark because you lose the queen. So don't do that. But black is in time trouble. You can do anything. You just play random moves and you win because black don't have mate. So rook to b8, double question mark because you lose your rook. You lose your rook, and you have nothing. So knight d3 check, and just take it. And that's not a threat. You can even check, and as long as white has a check in, then black is just done. And the check, and that, and black has nothing, so black resign. This is actually an interesting game. I think in the live commentary I said here, I said some ridiculous things like something like very bad moves. So I suggested bad moves in the live commentary. So it's actually good that that recording is not there. Okay, what did I? Now I'll just. I think this is the game. No, not this game. Yeah, this is a game that I covered. So this game. So knight f3, f6, same opening, and this is just white goes for the trade opening, just offering a knight trade, and you just have to. That's the whole point of knight to h6, defending against knight to f5. So just take it. White aims for a positional opening, which is not good against Sudkunuri because Sudkunuri is very good at positional games. So that's pretty common theme. Just put your pieces, develop pieces, and white sacrifice a knight for some bishop activity, and that is threatened. So I think in this game I must have also made some mistakes in commentaries. So I think this is a good threaten, and I think this is black has to answer this threat by playing something. And I think that is the correct move, but I think white is actually doing okay here because this knight is pinned and this pawn is strong, and black, and you can't even castle because you might get mated. So h5, the threat is takes, and just black is crushed, so have to defend against that. But g5 looks risky because that is always a threat. So actually I maybe overestimated the threat because apparently in some of the later stages I recommend that several times, but that's not correct. Okay, g5, so h6, threatening that directly, but I think at this point black is already fine. I think, yeah, black is already fine. In here, white is, yeah, not sure about that. Yeah, it just thinks that the sacrifice, no, that is not a good move. So that sacrifice is not sound. But still, white might be fine. So bishop g4, double exclaim. That I said that move because that's obvious because it blocks the white queen, and White threat is nothing and just castles. And no, actually I didn't even see that, but that's obviously bad because you just check and you have nothing, so your pieces are all here and you are exploded, and if you go there just check and check. um, this is actually a common pattern in an atomic game. If your rook is if your rook and is near to the other king and there are points somewhere near to their king, then you might have a mate. The common mate pattern is rook, king, piece, like that, in a row. So white has nothing to. Black can do this in two different ways. Can do there, rook, king, piece, and there or there, rook, king, piece. So that's mate, and you can't do anything. Just get mated because in this check you have to. Whenever a check happens and a rook with a rook next to your king and your piece is behind it, you can resign like a grandmaster because you lose. Okay, so you can't take it, and white has nothing. I actually thought about that because that's always a threat, and you don't have any in something. But you notice that is a very correct move because it threatens something. If you move, then you might get mated because you might get mated. Um, that threatens, of course, the d4 pawn. I think that is you can castle here, or you can. Is this mate? No, it's not made because of that. So yeah, so you have to check first and then take it. And there, I might get mated 3 times by now because this is so weird. Yeah, that and that I think, and that, yeah, that. And it's defended, so that's not a threat. So that king is actually pretty safe there. Although it looks very dangerous, it's actually pretty safe. So not sure about that. Queen to a5 check and defense and rook e8. I think at this point I suggest that again, but of course that you take and you're in check, so that's obviously a threat. But however, castles after e takes d, you still have that move. That move was not a threat. Was not a threat because of that point. So that move actually is pretty hard to find because it's not viable up till now. Now you have to block with the rook, and your rook is pinned. Your rook is pinned, so you can't do anything. I just chill, and you have to do something, and that might be something, and you draw. But that's hard to find. I don't see that happening. If I play, I get mated 5 times. So okay. Now, white sacrifice the queen, so white didn't find that move, so white have to give up the queen, and then white loses. So because white has nothing. That's actually okay for white because knight check, king f1, rook d8. Yeah, that's a bad move. And actually, I don't know. That's hard to find. That's pretty hard to find. So why? I think it's because that queen is slightly more active. So after normal moves like trade, then check. I think then that. Yeah, then that, and then is you draw because you can't do anything. You can't defend. Yeah, that's correct. Why is that bad? Because your own piece. Because of your own piece. For example, you still do that, and rook d1, knight to g3 check, king to g1, and you get a checking. Yeah, that's the problem. So bishop has to be there and not here. So that's actually hard to find in real games, but now when you have a piece and you are up a pawn, so not up a pawn, but you're just up a piece, so you can do anything. You just, if I am playing, I might sacrifice this knight for this pawn and just, because these pawns are blocked, and trade these pawns and push the pawn, and then you win. Because if you know the end game of queen versus a pair of blocked pawns, then you can win this end game. When whatever you, I actually studied some of these end games because I can't win that for quite a long time. So I actually studied it. I will cover this in further videos, in future videos. So maybe that's good. So okay, that's all about this Elite Atomic Swiss. So we watch some Elite Atomic games. That's actually interesting. Now, the final part, we will talk about some elite players. The first elite player is of course Arca 50, and he's the reigning Atomic champion, and he just won the AWC against Grand Loping, but now we are going to watch some fun games. Have you ever heard of, I think I mentioned him in the last video, but I'm not sure about that. So I'll mention it again this time. This is a sub-series in the Resign like a Grandmaster series. It's called, I think I'll name it Atomic Chess Greats Remastered. Yeah, named like that. This is the first episode we are going to talk about Teilchen. Teilchen means particle in German. Teilchen. You just watch that. Let's see. Atomic chess rating 2712. What does that mean? That means just compare Teilchen's rating with Arca 50's rating. You can see the difference is almost, no, it's higher than 200 points. That's like, for example, my rating and 2000 rating. So the difference between I and the 2000 players are only 200 rating points. So the difference between Teilchen and Arca 50 is almost as big as the difference between I and 2000 rating players. That's pretty good. You can see what's his record. Victories over 6,000, defeats only 500, and he has a long winning streak of 126 games in a row. What does that mean? Well, you just imagine if I play someone good like Historics or Chronotog, I might win once in 50 games because they might blunder mating once and I might see mating once. They might get tired and just whatever, because that's how Atomic works. Everybody do this to weaker players once in a while. I think maybe that will happen once in 50 games and not in at least once in 100 games. So the long winning streak of 126 games is pretty impressive. I think if you limit that only to rated games, the streak will be longer. Bruheimer might have a better winning streak, but Bruheimer is not actually an Atomic player. He's an anti-chess player. He's not good at Atomic. So Teilchen is much higher rated than Bruheimer. So I know Racing King's Queen might get mad at me because he's a known fan of Bruheimer, but Bruheimer is just terrible. Okay, so Teilchen is probably the highest rating player now. You know, some old players go to 2700 or even 2800 several years ago, but the rating has deflated ever since, so you can't get to that point now, and Arca only can get to 2500, so 2700 is really good. And even someone like Yogurt 3 or also called Human Waste can't do that. Just see 126 straight wins. You although he actually, the reason behind that is that Teilchen only plays against some new players. Like his opponent's ratings are all something like 1500 and 1500 question mark, which means they are new players. However, if you think about that, you might think, oh, I can do that too. I can also win every time when I play against new players. No, you can't do that. If I play against 1500s, can I win like 100 games in a row? No, I can win 5 games in a row. That's all good enough. Just imagine if I play against Olivia. Just kidding. If I play against the Sixers is actually 1500, but it's underrated. So or someone else that is actually 1500, I might lose once in 10 games. I can't adopt them. So Teilchen can always adopt any 1500 players and he always wins, so his rating keeps keeps increasing. However, he actually loses some games, but they are all carry games. In rated games he rarely loses because he doesn't focus in carry games. Okay, so let's just watch some of his games and learn about some opening traps. This is actually quite interesting. Knight f3, e5. This opening, which is of course e5 is not defended. And what should you play against this opening? I don't recommend this opening, playing this opening yourself, but you should play knight to g5. And if your opponent plays e5, you should play knight to g5 because it threatens winning material and checkmate. So black has to play something like, I think f5 is the correct move because you don't lose a queen. F6 loses a queen, so don't play f6 here. F5 is the correct move because now black has threat. What is black's threat? If white plays something like knight to f7, what should white play? What should black play? Black, of course, the obvious move, queen to h4, threatening the f2 square, and you have to defend. Now what do you play? This is, you might say, oh, I know, this is a very similar theme, and I've seen this theme pretty many times in your videos. Yeah, that's actually, yeah, you might have seen that theme in white openings all the time. Just queen there, and you resign because your pieces are threatened. But is that true? No, because after that, black resigns. Notice that that is actually threatened because you played e5. So that is covered. So you can't go to that square. So therefore, black has to play something like, I think, is it that move? Or that move first, but this is still not good for white because the black queen is out, and although black queen can't go to any of these squares because of that, the black queen can go to here, or actually I'm not sure. I think it's, yeah, it's there. Actually, yeah, it only wins some material because the white knight is still there. So even if you take a queen, you are only up some material, and it's not that good. But you might win this, and you might lose it, but you have more chance of winning. Although that is annoying, but you know. Yeah, you can only, but that's what you can do. You can only win material, and that night just that is there, and you just develop pieces and and if you take, then of course your knight is not there anymore, so black wins. So you can't take. So white has to develop, and this opening is not good for white. So don't play knight to f7. So you can play something like e3, and you can play something like d4, and you can play something else. So there are many games in this line. Okay, and you can play something like h4, defending against that, and I think white is also fine here, or here. White is all fine. So just develop pieces. Don't care. f6 is actually not good because it loses the queen. Don't lose the queen. So knight to f7. Black has to play queen to e7 and check. This is check because black is check. Black is in check. If you move your king, then you can mate it. So don't do that. So you have to take the knight. If you take this way, the queen also gets exploded because an explosion happened here. The queen must be exploded. So you have to take it with your queen. So you're down queen. So not sure about that. That's not good. So black played king e7 exclaim, but that's of course loses because that mates. So all in all, e5 is not a very good opening, but it's good when your opponent doesn't prepare. Let's see a longer game because a longer game is better for tricks. And now Teilchen is black. Let's see how he defends. Knight to f3, f6, exclaim. Knight to e5, f takes e5, of course, because that is actually not that bad a sacrifice, because white has actually had some, some sort of compensation in that line, because something like e4, g6 exclaim. It's okay because I think that's the best move actually. G6. I think anything is good. So this is good for slightly better for black because black is up a knight for a pawn, but white has some compensation for it. But this is actually common. This threatens something, of course. This threatening a smarter mate, but don't make one move threat unless it achieves something. This achieves something. This is a threat. It achieves something. Black must react to that. Because that's a threat. So black can't play some random move. Otherwise you lose. So black has to play something like that. But that is a threat. The threat is direct. So can you go check? No. If you check, then mate. Don't do that. So always remember, in atomic chess, you don't have to react to checks. If your pieces or pawns near to your king are threatened, you have to move them. You have to defend against that. You have to block the bishop. And then black is better because white has no threat. And black pieces are amazing. That's just good. And that is a threat, and white will lose the queen or lose other material. So don't do that. But actually, white did something worse. So black obviously, black just plays some random legal moves, and because that's also a good move because defense against the threat. That's actually quite common in beginners games. They just move something because it threatens something, because their opponent might not see it. But when you are playing someone good like Historics, Chronotalk, or Teilchen, you're playing them, then that won't work. They will always see mating one, unless when they are not, then they didn't, but that won't happen. So they can always see mating one threat, at least not when they are not in time trouble. Now this is a 5+0 game, so they are not in time trouble. So you make one move threat, you check. That's pretty good. I checked him, so that's not good because it helps black develop the pawns, and now black's position is open and black pieces are active, and this bishop is threatened. So white plays some bad moves again, so don't do that. They're not good. So Just take the pawn for no reason, and that just forces mate because you have to do that and then that, so you can't do that. You lose a queen. Although the mate is not obvious, but you lose a queen. So black just go for some cuter mates like move out the queen, threatening that square, and white can only defend by d4, and black plays queen. Black plays that, threatening the queen. That is not that good, but black is up so much material, and this bishop is out, so that's good. f3, and it's okay, I guess. Bishop h6. That's actually not a necessary move because white might have some compensation. After that, this might be complicated. Yeah, the computer is saying that is a bad move because that's a real threat, and so you have to do that. Knight h6. Because you just trade pieces when you are down material because it threatens something. Just because it threatens something. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't play a move just, oh, I threaten something. I threaten checkmating 1. But your opponent will surely see that checkmating 1, unless that's not easy to see. Like castles, then it threatens mating 1. Then your opponent might not see it. But this, everyone sees it and take it. Just take it. So you're down material, and you're just down material. So, and then that's easy for Teilchen, and you just get mated soon, and you just bishop. The bishop will invade, and the white king can't survive this. And yeah, that's actually, I don't know that move. That's not good. So as white, you can play for some tricks like that's a real threat because that's a real threat. But black can move the queen because mates are more important. You can give a check, but black, I think here is okay. No, here's not okay because the check. I might blunder here. You must look for your opponent checks. This check might come there, so that is only correct move, and that is no longer a check, and so you don't have to take it, and you can't take it, and that is not good because you can mate it. Queen, watch out for queens in an open position, especially in endgames. If you have a queen in the endgame, that's good, unless your kings are connected. Otherwise, your queen just can your king is going to get mated if your opponent has a queen. So here it's not good for white, so don't do that. But that's already the best move, best white can do. So knight takes d5 question mark. Then black just go for some mates, and that's a good move. Bishop check, and you can't do anything. I'm not sure about that because I might just play this, and not that. This, and just take the pawn or something like that, and you just win a boring endgame because I like boring endgames. In boring endgames, you just win because your opponent has no pieces. Now white has no pieces left. You just move your bishops to your 2 bishops to mate him, and white can do nothing. So here, Teilchen of course found a mate. So mate. Yeah, that's not a good move. Why? When you can move a piece next to your opponent's king, although their king can't take it, any piece they all can't take it. But you must watch out for the pieces near your piece. So black plays queen e2 check question mark, not double question mark because black is still winning, but it allows. Notice this queen can't be taken, and this is the pattern queen or rook, king, piece, so it should be made unless the queen can be taken. How can the queen be taken? By taking the bishop, because the bishop is next to the king, so that next to the queen, so black just lose the bishop. So, but white didn't find that move, so white just get mated. Okay, that's an interesting game. Let's watch one last game. Although as good as Teilchen, he might also lose some games due to some interesting tactics. Mad 339 is pretty, maybe some random players. Okay, so this opening is knight f3, f6, knight d4, knight h6, which is Teilchen's best opening and many people's favorite opening. I'm not, my favorite opening is that is d4, and white is just solidly better and black can do anything. So knight to h6, e3. This is theoretical line up till now. As I already said that this is not the correct move. The correct move is that, but that's okay, I guess. Is that okay? I think can you go there? Not sure about that. If you go there, you just win a yeah. You just win a queen. So that's not a good move. That's a really bad move. So f3 double question mark. But why? Because this is a carol game. Teilchen don't really like carol games. So carol games randomly. Let's replay random moves. f3. Never play f3. So f3 is a bad move. So you have to move the queen, otherwise you get mated to lose the queen. You not only you lose the queen, you lose the whole queen. You can't do anything else. If you move your king, then you get mated, of course, and you can't do anything. So you have to take it, and then you're down a queen. You lose the whole queen because you lose the whole queen. And with no compensation, I don't see any compensation. So don't do that. You can see this game is this position is actually happened quite a few times in the database. So knight to c6, knight to c6 is not a good move. Yeah, that's actually hard to find the reason. The reason is the black position is not developed, so white can play knight to c3. What's the threat? Well, this is the threat, and you're forked. Your queen and king are forked. So black will have to play something like that, but then you get that. So you might lose a queen. So you might lose a queen. So white get some material back, I guess, and that is not made because that's not in move. If it's white's move, then that will be made. I think still can still, yeah. Not in this position. In some positions that will be made, but not in this position. Your king can run away, so don't do that. Black is still better, but it's okay. Now h4 double question mark. Actually, not sure about that, but you allow a knight invasion. Why? So, okay, but that's how Teilchen is different from you guys or me, because they are losing anyway. Because in this position, what can you do? You must try something. You must try to push your pawn. Your opponent might let you queen, because who knows? So bishop a6, not threatening. Of course, this is a threat, but just take it. Okay, h4. After h4, black played e5. Black played e5, which is the decent move. It is develop pieces. Bishop a6. Yeah, that's actually not that bad, because as you can see here, how can you win as white? The only way to win is to catch your opponent pre-moving. If your opponent makes a pre-move, like something like here, then you might get some compensation. So I don't know. This is probably the only way to win. So you might try it. You know, playing for tricks when you are losing. So always play for tricks. The captures, you should still play that. But now black, I think, can defend. Although black can't defend that way, but I think black can defend. So black, yeah, black can just ping. I'm stupid, but I think even if that is still fine because you probably can mate it. Even that is still fine because black is still our material, so don't do it. Okay. King f2, exclaim. Why? Because because of some reason. Because your king should get active. You should try to connect kings. If you don't connect kings, how can you draw this game? Your only chance to draw is to connect kings. So king f2 exclaim. So Teilchen is very good at swindling. Okay. Bishop a6 exclaim because there are some threats there. c4 defending against threats. Knight b4 threatening captures and winning material and something like some nasty moves like that. Knight a3 exclaim, so you can take it or you can do something like that. It's also fine, and basically anything wins for black. But but Teilchen still didn't resign because he didn't resign. Okay, don't resign. Grandmaster might still lose in this game, especially some grandmaster. So resign like a grandmaster. When anybody can find a mate, you resign. But in this position, not anybody can win this position as black because there are still many things like that. Not good for black. So knight to b5. The threat is of course captures, so you have to do something about that. Yeah, you don't need to do something about that. Why? Because the only way that you can win is by catching your opponent pre-moving. Otherwise, you can move your king. If you move your king, then black might just take the rook and you still lose. So the only way is to play knight to b5 exclaim, and black play captures, and black didn't pre-move because black still has some time left. So king to g3 exclaim, and although the threat is of course to connect kings, and I don't know if black can win that. So knight takes a1 as expected. Of course that would be better because that forks these pieces and white will have to lose the rook. But who will play that? Knight takes a1 is good enough. d4, d5, c4, f5, opening up the queen, and that is a threat, so you have to do something about it. And d takes e5. Not sure about that, but that actually opens up that path to connecting the king, so that's an okay move. g5 threatening to capture the pawn with mate, which of course black can do in the previous move, and white has to do something about that, but white play e4 and get mated. That's not how you play that. That move is not good. I must say that move is not good. When they play g5, what do you think they were gonna do? G takes h4. Otherwise, why do they play g5? So you have to defend against that. G takes s4 is too obvious. So if you play that, then you might resign. So then you can't do anything, and you can't do anything. You forces that, and you get mated. So let's watch another game because their game seems interesting. This might be the final game of this video. This Atomic Chess Greats Remastered Teilchen chapter. Teilchen is actually at least I think Olivia level. Okay. Knight to h3. Knight to h3 f6. Many people don't like that opening, but it's good against beginners. e4, d6, knight to c3, c6, no more developing new moves and defending moves. d4, bishop takes h3, nothing happening. Bishop e3. Bishop e3. Actually, threat normal move, just normal moves. What does it threat? Well, that is threat. Maybe some discover the attack, and black didn't threat anything because black didn't threat anything. So g5 exclaim. Why it's a good move? Because otherwise you might get mated other way. Do you know? Play like a legend. g5. Yeah. Although that obviously weakens your king side, but who cares about that? g5, you just maybe you can push, you can do that, and maybe you can win a bishop if you can move 2 moves in a row, and maybe they won't find checkmate. Okay, enough for that. So queen h5 check is obviously is a theme of false mate. In atomic chess, false mate is also a theme. For example, knight h3, knight h3 g5, knight h3 g5. Then the false mate is a theme. So don't do that. Then you can mate it because you can mate it. So you can mate it. Okay, that's all. As you can see, Teilchen is a very good player. Even if when he's losing, he loses in style. So unlike some players, like okay, no public shaming. So even if he loses, he resign like a grandmaster. In that position, like his king is threatened by the queen, so he resigns. Teilchen is probably the best blue hammer player on Lichess and in atomic chess, of course. And look at his rating graph. It's very smooth, and there are very few times that he lost to bad players. So Teilchen is probably an okay player. I'd say maybe on a good day I can beat him, but generally I can't beat him. So this is the first episode of the sub-series Atomic Chess Greats Remastered. And that's the end of the 4th episode of Resign Like a Grandmaster. Thank you all for watching. Good night.